Putin is going to war to destroy NATO, according to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but has withdrew. On Tuesday, a day after Turkey backed Sweden's accession, Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said Russia's war in Ukraine had helped NATO expand its forces rather than halt its unity. Before the all-out attack on Ukraine last year, Russian President Vladimir Putin raised Kiev's intention to join NATO as a supposed national security threat. Putin started a war because NATO is getting smaller and smaller and does not want to go to war. He is becoming more and more pro-NATO, Stoltenberg told reporters at the start of the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania on Tuesday. President Putin, Moscow has no veto power over NATO's eastward expansion. Stoltenberg's announcement comes after Turkey refused to support Sweden's NATO membership for more than a year, but decided on Monday to support Sweden's membership. After the Russian invasion of Ukraine, Stockholm and Helsinki set aside their dates of conflict and applied to join NATO in May 2022. Finland became the organization's 31st member in April and joined the partnership for the first time. Fight in your own land. Efforts to join the European Union in Kyiv came at a time when Ukraine was advancing judicial and anti-corruption reforms. Good issue. Still, Stoltenberg noted on Tuesday that Kyiv has been successful in integrating with NATO since the April 2008 Bucharest Conference, which allowed Ukraine and Georgia to join the negotiations cooperatively. Ukraine has come a long way since 2008, when we decided that the next step would be the membership project, said. Ukraine has a closer relationship with NATO, so I think it's time to take that into account in NATO's decisions. Send a strong and positive message about Ukraine's progress. What security guarantees NATO can provide to Ukraine and how, and whether these promises will survive the leadership change in the U.S. elections in November 2024 is still in the air. For the President of Ukraine, long-term visits have become the norm. However, Vladimir Zelensky announced on Telegram on Tuesday, unprecedented and ridiculous, invited by parties without appointment. And Ukrainian members, he even added some strange words for the conditions of inviting Ukraine. Google Translate. Stoltenberg confirmed that Zelensky will attend the NATO meeting. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov warned on Tuesday that the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO is very dangerous for European security, adding that it would be negative for Sweden to join the alliance. Peskov said that Russia will carefully monitor the NATO meeting and take measures to ensure its own security. It gained independence from the Soviet Union in January, but Putin has described Russians and Ukrainians as one people, a claim many in Ukraine reject. Donetsk, Kherson, Lugansk, and Zaporizhzhia. Russia's offensive allowed NATO to strengthen its presence in Eastern Europe rather than retreat. NATO's military strength in the eastern part of the alliance is a direct result of Russia's behavior that displays a pattern of aggression towards its neighbors and their transatlantic neighbors, the group said in a statement last month. Wagner's modification wisely suppressed the peculiarities of the Russian language only for a short time. For over 2 decades, Vladimir Putin's control of power has been an image of invincibility in Russia. But on June 24, an attack on Wagner's mission took place and Putin's government in Russia was on the verge of collapse. It is worth noting that Russia's own internal problems pose a threat to the Putin regime, and there is no need for the US to intervene to achieve this outcome. With the recent decline of Wagnerian director Yevgeny Prigozhin, the negative news in the Russian media will disappear in the future. Prigozhin, a former prime minister who is Putin's confidant and founder of the Wagner Group, is at the center of Russia's disinformation campaign. The Internet Research Agency, IRA, a troll farm best known for its 2016 US election campaign, and the Patriotic Media Group are making the Kremlin's global message widely known as digital media. But recent events brought the end of the mysterious Russian machine. Prigozhin's Imperial Report, Russia's media watchdog Roskomnadzor's St. Petersburg and blocked many Patriot websites. Results: Prigozhin announced the closure of his press office, citing a decrease in Russian disinformation. The importance of this change cannot be overstated. Prigozhin's IRA Petersburg has for many years become an important part of the Russian online game. The agency employs hundreds of professional trolls to support the Kremlin's domestic and international interests. His intrigues and deceptions have affected millions, manipulated public opinion, undermined the functioning of democracy, and created great divisions. As of 2015, the Irish Republican Army, IRA, has 400 personnel working 12-hour shifts. Of them are trolls, 80 of whom are dedicated to undermining American politics. His work continues on various social networking sites, including VKontakte, which is often considered Russia's Facebook. According to the U.S. Senate Intelligence Committee report IRA leaders carefully monitor offices with CCTV cameras and regularly monitor page views, advertisements, visits, and the entire website. The IRA's attacks were unique to the United States. The IRA is working tirelessly to disrupt our political process ahead of the 2016 election. Employing more than 80 people, has been targeting American events since its second year and started using social media platforms to spread the news. This attack is far from an unfounded internet scam. These are all plans to weaken the country and its political structure. This is a form of modern warfare used by state actors. But as the 2024 U.S. election approaches, the closure of Prigozhin's government office could mean big changes. If the current situation in Russia continues, the West will see a decrease in the influence of the Russian troll farm, thereby limiting the scale of false ideas. The impact of these troll farms is huge, as evidenced by the 140 million monthly users of their content in the USA. 75% didn't even touch a page. Instead, they find it through Facebook's suggestions and post it to their news feed. While some countries in Russia are closed, the emergence of advanced language models like ChatGPT is giving players more opportunities to grow their business. Researchers at Stanford and Georgetown University used the precursor ChatGPT to create misinformation by demonstrating their ability to influence American readers with Russian and Iranian propaganda. The findings show that products created with minimal human editing have a greater impact on readers' emotions than foreign ads created with computer models. Chris Krebs, head of Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Organization, said the 2024 presidential race will have significant consequences at home and abroad. Krebs added that Russia, along with China and Iran, could try to influence the elections. Foreign actors have more incentives to intervene than in 2020, both in terms of design, intervention, and strategic options, intervention, he said. He also noted that the tension between Washington and Beijing may cause China to intervene again, while Iran will try again because it participated in the last elections. The West must understand that Russia is not the only disinformation provider. Other players will try to fill the void left by the collapse of the Prigozhin Empire. Our response must be flexible and able to counter false threats.